From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
We are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Anglers Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Why? Because I got my main man, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson in the house today. So what's going on? What's going on, brother? I hope everybody's feeling good and feeling great over in the East Coast, brother.
Well, we're sporting the Syracuse look here today. Spent Sunday and Monday in Syracuse. First time I've been there. Great campus, great town. Kids were good. Saw the Carrier Dome. COVID kind of messing around with what you can see and what you can't see. But overall, sporting it. I know my daughter at UConn won't like this, but off the air we talked about the old Big East, and I missed that, the Syracuse versus Villanova, Georgetown, UConns and stuff. But I got the East covered for you, Pop. So you got the West, so let's do it.
Well, you know, we're not too great over here right now. We've had rain all night long and all morning long. It kind of eased up a little bit, but we got wind, and it is going to be a high of 48 degrees today in beautiful Southern California. You know what I mean? So they say it never rains, it never gets cold. That's absolutely BS, brother. It gets rainy and cold everywhere. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into last night. Last night was incredible. Rams get big win in the desert, beating the Cards 30-23, and this was their sixth straight win in the desert. In the 5 years that the Rams have been back in Los Angeles, they are now 9-1 against the Cardinals in that stretch. And pretty much what happened in this game yesterday, you told me off air, it was very simple. Kingsbury getting out-coached, and we've always talked about this. Now, these were my notes from last night. I just already mentioned they've won their sixth straight game in Arizona. Since coming back to Los Angeles, they have not lost one time since returning back from Los Angeles. Matt Stafford had himself a night last night. He went 23 for 30, 287 pass yards with 3 passing touchdowns last night. Cooper Kupp probably had the best receiving game of the year with 13 receptions, 173 yards, and a touchdown. OBJ seems like he's back to life somewhat now. He had himself a game last night, 6 receptions, 77 yards with a touchdown. Sony Michel, Patriot alumni, Georgia Bulldog alumni, gets 79 yards on 20 attempts. But this was the defining reason why the Rams won the game last night. Aaron Donald, 3 sacks, just being an absolute disruptor, making life real hard on the kid, Kyler Murray. Now, the Cards did run 75 plays to the Rams 54. That's 21 more plays. Also, they outgained the Rams 447 yards to 365. And then Murray, your boy, I know he killed it for you last night in fantasy, especially all the fantasy owners. But, 32 for 49, 383 passing yards, and 61 rushing yards. But here goes the part that messes up everybody. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns at all. James Conner, probably the best thing going last night for the Cardinals on an offensive end. Dynamic player who absolutely got overlooked from what we can see now here, Jeff. He went for 125 total yards last night, 2 touchdowns as well for him. AJ Green seems to be back to life, 7 receptions, 102 yards. I liked it because he's actually on my fantasy team as well, too, and I had him starting yesterday as well, too, for that reason. And then I know this is going to disappoint Jeff a lot. Hopkins, 5 receptions, 54 yards, 12 targets, though. 12 targets. So that means that we're either dropping balls or we're trying to force this situation when there's nothing there. And now the Rams are one game out of the division lead, 2 division games left for the season. Week 15 against the Seahawks, 49ers, the finale at SoFi, and the Cards have dropped to third in the NFC. They have one more divisional game. It looks like that they'll be okay as long as they win that divisional game here at the end of the year and for making the playoffs against the Seahawks in the season finale. But that could be the most dangerous game of the year for the Cardinals because I don't know why, but I got this feeling that the Seahawks just ain't all the way done yet. You know what I mean? That's probably the best 5-8 team that you'll see in a long, long time.
Where do you want me to start? I mean, I'll go right to D-Hop, 5 for 12. A lot of those passes, Murray was in desperation, and he just heaved it up, and it was like 2-on-1s. He had no shots. He had wide open in the end zone, and it got knocked down. The 4th down play in the red zone dropped and kicked. Horrible. And then the second to last play of the game, or third to last, he gets his head hit in the turf in the end zone and now in concussion protocol. Kyler Murray, you can throw up all those fantasy numbers you want. I think he was in the red zone 4 times, 0 touchdowns. James Conner is their only bright spot at this point. AJ Green, to me, was an afterthought. Again, he just doesn't look like the same AJ Green. So, okay, let's flip the side. Okay, so McVay says, okay, Arizona, we can run on you. So what are we going to do? We're going to run every first down. Michelle's going to pick up 4, 5, 6 yards, and then we're just going to pass. We had no Higbee, so we got Van Jefferson. We got OBJ. No one can cover Cooper Kupp. And it was just like it looks like OBJ is actually back now. Cooper Kupp is just having an all-time year in fantasy, NFL wide receiver type. I mean, he's just uncoverable. Stafford had a game. And when you have a game like Stafford had with that defense, there's not many teams that are going to beat this team if they can put that all together. It's going to be the team in the playoffs that either is going to be running against them rampant. Stafford's going to throw a couple picks. There's going to be something that's going to derail this team because I think the two teams is either going to be Rodgers, which has been in this stage a few times, or obviously Brady, which we know all about. But it was just, listen, the score, this was domination. I don't care. It landed on 7. Okay, this was total domination. There was not at one point that I thought, Pops, that the Cardinals were going to win this game. 0.
Well. I just say to myself that I ain't surprised. And I told people that, when the Rams played the Cardinals again, that regardless of what happened at SoFi, the Cardinals were going to whoop the Cardinals, because that one right there, that stung a bit. Because you know what the Cardinals did that was so really good? They didn't do any type of bragging or braggadocious stuff. They just went about their business and kicked the Rams' butt that day. And the Rams came in that game very, very cocky, very, very overhyped. And, even the crowd was like, well, we'll probably be leaving in the third quarter after the Rams get done beating on them, because the Rams had destroyed everybody leading up to that game at SoFi, including the Bears and including the Buccaneers leading up to that game. So everybody had this idea that, it was going to be another walk in the park. But you know what? Kyler Murray and them were playing some of the best football in the NFL at the moment. And it's very understandable how they came into that game and won the game the way that they did, because, Jeff, we've been watching this game for a very long time. And we all know that teams that are very hot in the beginning of the year can walk into any stadium and smoke anybody. But we want to see who you are later on in the year. That's why I know that a lot of people are getting really excited about the Chiefs and things like that. And we'll get to that in a moment when we talk about the NFL playoff picture. And, these are finishers. And this is why Arizona didn't get any love from the national prognosticators that talk about football. They knew what it was. You're a front runner in the Breeders' Cup. You're the front runner in the Breeders' Cup Classic right now, okay? You just hit the front. All right. and everybody else just is taking their time to catch up with you because we all know it's a long race. But you were better off being you look more like a sprinter than a distance runner. So pretty much, we both know there's a lot of things that need to get fixed on this team, and I think that just a little bit, not much, but last night seeing Kyler Murray's body language, that he's getting a little bit frustrated with how the play calling is going and how Kingsbury's going about things in these games, because they've dropped 3 straight home games. That's not good for a team that came out so good this season, and they can be so bad at home right now.
Yeah, they're 7-0 on the road, so they're doing something, prepping for home games differently than they are on the road. It's absolutely no doubt about it. So I think this team is okay with not winning the division. We can go on the road and beat anyone. They've proven it this year. And what are you doing differently between home and the road? I thought Murray's body language was disgusting. They couldn't get some plays off. There was false starts. There was holding calls. There was so much. Him and Hopkins, something's not right there. And I don't expect Hopkins to play on Sunday. They're playing the Lions. They'll give them an extra week to get ready. That's a get well game for the Cardinals next Sunday. But we talked about this, and I'll just lay it on the line here. It starts with the coach. It goes from the coach to the quarterback. Okay. So what are the teams leading in the NFC? Rodgers and their coach, Brady and their coach. AFC, Reed and Mahomes. Patriots, rookie quarterback, and Belichick. So as you break down that playoffs right now, which teams are hot right now? It's those ones that I just talked about. It's not the team that came out 6-0, 7-0. I don't care. What have you done for me lately? And those are the teams that are one and done. And don't forget the playoffs this year, Pops. The number 1 seeds are the only teams that get the buys.
Right.
So it's going to be a battle now between the Bucs and the Packers. And I don't think the Bucs are worried. They already went into Green Bay last year and won. So the Bucs ain't worried. And I don't know about the Packers either at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see what transpires the last few weeks here.
Hey, and you know what? And I know the Cowboy fans are sitting there like, why haven't we been mentioned yet? Well, there's a lot of reasons why you haven't been mentioned yet, but it's okay. We go jump into the NFL playoff picture right about now-ish, all right? So NFL playoff picture, as you can see, we got some shifting going on. The Cardinals were the number one in the clubhouse for the first few months. The first few weeks as the playoff race began. Now they find themselves in 3rd place. This will now boost the Packers to the number 1 seed, and the Buccaneers now will be the number 2 seed as well, too. From what it's looking like now, this isn't any telling how it's going to be at the end of the year. Okay, I'm just putting it out there right now. I think that we wind up having ourselves a very important game between the Cowboys and the Cardinals coming up in 2 weeks when it comes to seeding. I think that game is very critical moving forward. But when I look at how everything's shaping up with these top 4 teams right now, the one with the easiest path to getting the 1 seed right now is, once again, and I know it's just I don't like to do this, Jeff, to be honest with you, but it is what it is at the end of the day. The guy's been in the league for 2,000 years. The guy started playing when we still had different rules in the NFL. Like, you could actually hit a guy in the face at the line. You know what I mean? When receivers and cornerbacks used to have a 5-yard fight. This is how long this guy's been in the league. But let me just get to my point. The Bucs have an easy pathway. They have 2 divisional games, and by far what we can both agree upon right now is the worst division in football other than them. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to say the worst, but I'm just going to say it's a very mediocre situation because everybody's stuck at 5 wins except for the Buccaneers. And so when I look at this, and Atlanta's actually 6-7, I'm very sorry about that. And New Orleans has gotten to 6-7 as well too. But we know these teams are trading off a lot of wins and losses, and Tampa Bay just does not have the issues that they had last year. You know what I mean? Where you had New Orleans that bested you. You didn't even win the division last year. You know what I mean? Because New Orleans was that good last year, but still, that's the team that you knew you had to take out. Now, Buccaneers, after losing 2 in a row and everybody saying, oh, my God, I don't know what's going to happen. It seems like they're falling apart. They've won 4 in a row. Nothing to worry about. That was just their time of the year to lose some games, but they're going to lose some games here at the end as well, too. But when you draw New Orleans and Carolina twice, and come on, Brady gets to go see his old friends in over at MetLife, get the New York Jets, good old buddies and pals, you know what I mean? But the Jets are a dangerous game because, you know, if Rex Ryan called, he might be trying to get Brady hurt, you know what I mean? But we know the Jets don't have that type of heart no more. But one thing I can say, though, is that this could be the game that kind of catches them off guard as well, too. It seems like the Jets have became a big game team where they're not winning against anybody else. But if you are a team that has some playoff standing or some vision to the playoff, oh, they'll beat you, or the Texans. But I think Tampa Bay, when I look at the last 4, they have the easiest path to getting to this 1 seed. Now, Green Bay, theirs is going to be difficult, brother. I think that theirs is really difficult because they draw Baltimore at home, and then they're on the road against Baltimore. Sorry about that. Then they finish up at home. 2 more games between Cleveland and Minnesota, who are somewhat similar, the same exact team, the same team chasing the same situation, trying to get that final seed in the playoffs. So this right here, I feel like this is getting handed to Tampa Bay. And as I said before, I think that it comes down to the winner of the Cowboys and the Cardinals on how we settle who's going to be the 3rd seed here. And that's my 2 cents. What do you got for me, Jeff?
We talked at length last year about the Bucs and their mediocre start, win one, lose one, struggling at home. And then they got the bye. And then they won the last 5 games of the regular season. Then they go to Washington, 11-point favorites, and against a Heineke who had never started. Then they go to the Saints, where Breeze couldn't throw it over 20 yards. And then they end up in Green Bay. They beat Green Bay, and then they go to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. It's the same thing. Tom did it with Bill, and he's doing it now with Tampa. They just get ready. They get revved up. You can knock them down early, and they're going to cheat. There's no doubt about it. They're going to cheat. It just comes down to, does Green Bay cheat as well? A Baltimore team that you don't know if Lamar's playing. A Cleveland team that's right now getting decimated with COVID as we speak. A Baker Mayfield that again, can you trust them in any situation? They're set. They're okay. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you, with those 2 teams. One gets the 1 seed. Tampa's played phenomenal at home this year. So if Rodgers has got to travel, fine. And even if they get Tom back at home, he already beat him in 20 degrees. Maybe it'll be 10 degrees and it'll be snowing. I don't know, but it just looks like a collision course in the NFC. Listen, Dallas, it is what it is. I mean, listen, they're okay. I mean, Elliott's banged up, Pollard's banged up. I mean, do you really trust Mike McCarthy? Same as Kingsbury. Right. That's why they're both going to be one and done. It don't matter. It just doesn't matter when this is all over, Pops.
Well, you know what you're telling me is that we're going to have ourselves a spicy NFC, where the NFC has been more of a formful conference this year because as we say every single week on the show, in the NFC right now, in reality, there's only 6 really good teams in that conference. Everybody else is middling or mediocre. Okay? And it's all the usual suspects that are supposed to be there. San Francisco, the Rams, the Cowboys, because, you know, the Cowboys are always the de facto team in the East. Everybody already has them pegged as the winner. And then, you know, Arizona is kind of the surprise of the group, to be honest with you, because we would have thought they would have been scrapping at that 7th spot to get in, and we would have had Seattle sitting kind of comfortable right now. But that's not the case. And then when it really comes down to it, when you look at it, it's really between the Packers and the Bucs. And it's just and that's what we like to call formful. But when we get but the AFC, we're not going to get into that part because I talked about it in depth yesterday. But the NFC is like a blanket finish at the when we get to the stretch. It's just what the hell is going to happen? You know what I mean?
You said one team that I would take. I would take the Niners in a one-game battle over Dallas. I would take it also over Arizona at this point. Why? Because I trust their coach more than the other two coaches, number one. Number two, Jimmy G has been there before. Number three, come playoff football, they can run the crap out of the ball. Now, is Debo healthy? Is Ayuk healthy? Is Kittle's healthy? Is their defense healthy? I would take the Niners. That's the one team that I would still put my hat on that could make that wild card weekend run and then get to the next level and maybe surprise someone and get to the championship game. Is it going to happen? Most likely not, but that's the one team I would put my hat on.
Let's say this, both the Niners and say the Rams finish up 11-6. I would say to you today that I truly do feel like the Niners can actually jump the Rams, because I think that if the Rams have an issue at all in these next 3 weeks where they lose 2 out of 3 or something of that nature, because they're going to make the playoffs. That's going to happen, okay? Niners and Rams on that wild card end are in. The 7th seed is the one that has to be settled. But everybody has to understand this one thing. The Niners, if we have a situation where they have the same exact wins at the end of the year, the Niners would be the one winning the tiebreaker. And this would just mean that, because the Niners, I don't care what anybody says, and everybody acts like they keep wanting to overlook this, but the 49ers have the Los Angeles Rams number. This has been going back since 1994 when they left the place, okay? So it hasn't changed in 30 years, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, as we said with Alabama and Georgia, Rams, who's your daddy? Because who is your daddy? You know what I mean?
When you break down that game, listen, I like Stafford, but you put him in that big spot and he has crumbled before. Not that Jimmy G is Joe Montana or Steve Young here. So I think it comes down to Donald versus Bosa. And two great coaches, two great young coaches. I would love to see those two just have to settle the score. Unfortunately, whoever gets the 1 seed, and if they both get in, the Rams will travel maybe somewhere or host, and the Niners definitely will be traveling, but they're a dangerous team. I don't care what anyone says. I would take the Niners in the stretch run. I think they got the mentality and they got the makeup where they definitely could put it all together.
Right. This is a fighting group, and I think that honestly, it's better for them to be on the road doing this than being actually on the actually at home, because they're just such a better team on the road. You know what I mean? And I think that they would just cause a lot of issues, especially if you're the Buccaneers, man. Like, you don't want to see them in the first round, because they ain't going to go out there respecting Tom Brady like everybody else. You know what I mean? They want to go out there and beat the Bucs. Simple and plain. You know what I mean? And I tell people this: do not just get so excited about the Bucs so quickly. Yes, they're gonna go ahead and dominate and get to the playoffs, but once again, if you haven't been challenged in a while, this could be detrimental. And you know this by dealing with the Patriots all these years. Remember, final 5 games of the year, they're playing absolutely nobody. Everybody in the East is terrible, and then they go into the first game of the playoffs and get beat by 10. You know what I mean? It happens because you haven't been challenged in 2 months. You know what I mean? And now you got somebody that has every flaw on the table from you.
And not to flip sports, but that happens in college hoops all the time. That's what happened to the Zags. I mean, hey, listen, you can go undefeated. You can beat everyone by 30. But when you got the ball and you haven't been challenged and you're down 4 with 3 minutes to go and it's go time and you haven't been put in that spot, it's tough. And you can't just flip the switch. That's the thing about football. They added the extra week. And now it's COVID, it's injuries. Everyone's banged up. And it's who's coming in hot, who had to win the last 3 games to get him, who's the dangerous team now. And these guys, it's a free roll for them. They're playing with house money. A team that was dead and buried now's won 5 in a row. They get in, they're a dangerous team.
All right. And so pretty much I was going to jump into college football right away, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break because we kind of went over. So pretty much when we get back, we're going to be talking about 4 games in college, these 4 bowl games that are happening between the 20th and the 22nd of this month. And there's some really good bowl games as well too, Jeff. So I can't wait to get into it with you. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we will be right back.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, we're back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles, and let's go ahead and jump into the Myrtle Beach Bowl. This is going to be on December 20th between Old Dominion and Tulsa. We have ourselves 2 teams that are exactly somewhat the same, but Tulsa was supposed to be a lot better than they actually were this year, Jeff. They were supposed to be a team that was supposed to challenge for that AAC title, give Cincinnati a little bit of a run this year as well too, but none of that worked out for this team this year at all. But they were able to have some good wins on the resume as well too. Monster win to close out the year over SMU. But SMU struggled at the end of the year. They weren't the same team after they lost to Memphis this year. So when I look at my notes for this game, you have Old Dominion coming in here. If you're looking at the numbers, you get excited about Old Dominion. They're 9-3 against the spread, and they've won their last 5 games outright. So they ended the season with the 5-game winning streak. And then also they went under in 7 out of the 12 games they played in. And then as the underdog, which they will be on game day, they're 3-6 straight up as the underdog, but 6-3 against the spread, and they've went under in 6 out of those 9 games. Now Tulsa 7-5 against the spread. They went over in 7 out of those 12 games. And also as the favorite, they're 5-3 straight up, but they're 3-5 against the spread. And then they've went over in 5 out of the 8 games they've played as a favorite this year. When I look at this game, Jeff, I'm going to be dead honest with you. I'm going to be a little bold here. I like Old Dominion in the spot. I really do. I really truly do. They got a good win over FAU here, and then they got a good loss at the end of the year against one of the better teams in the conference as well too. So I like them with the plus 9.5. I think that they shake up the apple cart a little bit. I don't know if Tulsa is going to be as interested as they would be.
You know, get 2 6-6 teams. Computer model has it at 9 and a 53. Pinnacle opened it at 7. Jazz opened it at 8.5. 67% of the bets are following you with ODU. Right now, I'm seeing some 9s and 9.5s across the board. 67% of those bets coming in, though, on ODU. Tulsa's been, I don't want to say a thorn on the side for us because we've had some good wins in the last few years with Tulsa. I think this is one of these games you're going to know early which Tulsa team showed up and which ODU team shows up here. Initial lean Tulsa, but again, you'll know early here if they just showed up to Myrtle Beach with let's just say some carpet some tank tops, and some sandals, and enjoying the Florida weather, or if they came to play some ball, Pops.
I heard that. All right, so guys, so Jeff's advice: stay away from the beach.
Yeah.
All right, so we move on to the Idaho Potato Bowl, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and this is going to feature the Kent State Golden Flashes going against the Wyoming Cowboys. So pretty much what we have here is, that they're going to favor Wyoming in this spot because Wyoming is right next to Idaho, and they are usually in this bowl game if they win 6 games or better. So pretty much Kent State comes in here 7-6 against the spread, the same exact record as their regular record. Now, they went under in 8 out of the 13 games they played in, and also when as an underdog this year, they've struggled. They've dropped 4 out of 5 against the spread and straight up as the dog. And then they've went under in 3 out of those 5 games as well, too. But Wyoming is terrible against the spread, Jeff. They're 4-7-1. They split when it comes to the over and under. And then as a favorite, they are winless, 0-4 and a push. And then they went over. And they've actually sorry about that, but they're 3-2 as the favorite though. So I don't have their over under here with me, but when I look at this one, I said to myself, I think that the wrong team is favored. I think that Kent State, with the way their offense plays, that they should be able to win this game. To be honest with you, Jeff, I got them straight up with the plus 120 to win this game.
Again, Wyoming, a Jekyll and Hyde team. Josh Allen will not be QBing this game, and you got Kent State, return of the MAC here. Computer model has this at Wyoming -3 with a 58 and a hook. Expect a high-scoring game here. 95% of the tickets coming in on that over. And for the actual wagers, 58% coming in on Kent State. So I hate to beat a dead horse here, but again, you'll know early which Wyoming team showed up. If they just want to get into a free-for-all here and last man standing with the ball, I could see that. Slight lean again to the favorite here, but I would not be shocked either which way if Kent State came in and just, boxed away at this as well, Pops.
And you know why I like Kent State a lot in this game? Because a few years back, they hadn't been to a bowl game in, I think, like 30, 40 years, and they absolutely crushed Utah State. And you know who Utah State's quarterback was at that time?
Yeah, I do. Hold on. Go ahead.
It's the guy who's backing up Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, okay.
And he played in the game. And that's why I said that I don't know if this kid's going to be any good in the NFL because they absolutely made him work for it that day. But they just had a great scheme, and they just bulldozed that Utah State team that had a lot of defensive players out that day. But it's all good. We move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about our next game, which is probably going to be one of the best bowl games of the whole group. And that's going to be this one right here. This is going to be the bowl game that's going to be between San Antonio and San Diego State. You have the battle of the champions of the Conference USA going against the runners-up of the Mountain West, the team that thought that they possibly were going to win that bowl, that championship, but they fell short to Utah State. A team that I talked about yesterday that I'm very heavy on in the LA Bowl as well too, Jeff. So I can't wait for that one. So we have this game. Now, San Antonio has played above and beyond expectations this season. They would have been good with just being 7-5 this year. But they figured it out very early in the season by getting an upset win in Champaign that they could be a good team this year. They wound up reeling off their first 11 games of the year with wins. this year before losing to North Texas and then coming back around and actually winning as an underdog against Western Kentucky, a team that has a very highly potent offense and has pretty much ran the Conference USA the last few years as well too. Now, I look at San Antonio. They're 9-4 against the spread. They have went over in 7 out of their 13 games this year as a favorite this year. They are 8-1 against the spread. They're 5-4, and they've went under in 5 out of those 9 games as a favorite this year. Now, San Diego State, who I thought should be the favorite in this game because they've actually played against better teams when you look at the resume, but I totally understand why they favor UTSA here because we know what's going to happen by the time we get to that game. It is the 14th of the month. This game is on the 20th. By the time we get to that game, it's going to be a pick'em. It's not going to be it's not going to be a dog. It's not going to be a favorite. They're both going to be on the -105, -115. How I see it. Now, you have San Diego State, who's 6-7 against the spread. They've dropped the last 5 out of 6 against the spread as well, too. So that's something to go ahead and look at as well. That's the reason why you don't favor them here. And then also, as the over and under, they've went under in 7 out of these 13 games that they played in. But this is the stat that tells me that San Diego State should be very, very tough to beat in this game. 4-0 against the spread and straight up as an underdog, and they have split when it comes to the over and under. So I truly do think that this will wind up being one of our better bowl games, and it's going to be tough to really pick a winner here. But all in all, I think what happens here is that San Antonio has had such a great season that they get themselves a great close win over the San Diego State Aztecs. And this was tough for me to go against the Aztecs because I know how good they are defensively.
You know, it's in Texas. You know, the total of opened at 50 is down to 49.5. That to me is a San Diego State total number. UTSA, you know, offensively can, you know, quarterback wise, they can throw, they can score quickly. I just look at this game and the numbers, just pure numbers, tells me San Diego State. UTSA, obviously, back-to-back great years. Glad to be where they are. Glad to be playing on December 20th. Currently, as I would lean San Diego State here. I would personally buy the hook, take them up to 3. I would sprinkle some money on the money line. You can probably get them at around plus 120, 125 maybe today. That's where I would lean today, Pops.
All right. So that's where we are with that one. So pretty much let's go ahead and move on to our final bowl game that we have for today. And that's going to be the good old Armed Forces Bowl. This is always a fun little bowl game that they play over in Fort Worth. Is the Armed Forces Bowl in Texas or Florida? It's in Fort Worth, isn't it?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Yes, it's in Fort Worth. Over in the Metroplex, baby. Dallas Metroplex. God, that's long. It just to note, if you haven't been to Texas yet, people, the Metroplex is 3.5 hours, the line of it, okay? So there's people that actually work from the first city that's a part of that to the last city that's a part of that. Texas is a crazy place, man. All right, not crazy, but those people go hard for their money. You know what I mean? You can't get nobody in California to do that, Jeff. Yeah, come on out here to Orange County and you stay over in the San Fernando Valley. Not happening. Unless you're paying that person $100 an hour. Seriously. All right, Armed Forces Bowl. We got Missouri at Army. Missouri is weird in a sense. That team was not good most of the year. And I say this because when I look at my notes, this team was 2-10 against the spread this year. That's awful for a Power 5 school that you're 2-10 against the spread this year. And then when it comes to the over, they went over in 7 out of their 12 games this year. And then also they are 2-4 straight up as an underdog. They got 2 of those wins here in the last few weeks as well, too. Monster went over South Carolina, and then we all know about the big win that they got over Florida as well, too. Literally got Florida's coach fired as well. So Am I right? They fired their coach, right? Florida, because I know they got a new coach because they were
Yes,
bragging about
yes.
it the other day with them replacing him with another Alabama coach that just is going to get blistered by Saban. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like if I'm an AD, I'm trying to avoid any. If I'm an SEC AD, I'm trying to avoid any Nick Saban assistants. I don't care how good they are, Jeff. To be honest with you, okay, they can go on off to the Pac-12 somewhere. You know what I mean? Because you got to bring me somebody. You know, you got to be like LSU and go get a guy like got to go get a guy like Brian Kelly. You know what I mean? But hopefully Brian Kelly don't turn into Chip Kelly over there.
Exactly.
Because it's already bad enough that we got this fake country accent going and everything like that. But they're 2-4 straight up. They're 3-3 against the spread, and they've went under in 4 out of the 6 games as an underdog this year. Now, Army is a very even team. They did a lot of trading off this year. So when it came to covering, they traded it off a lot. They're 6-6 when it comes to the spread this year. They've went under in 7 out of their 12 games. No surprise there. Now, as a favorite, 5-2 straight up against the spread, 3-4. Now, over and under, they've went under in 4 out of those 7 games. Army comes in here as a plus. Now they're a -4. I think that Missouri, since they're playing much better football at this moment, I think they actually wind up shaking up the apple cart, not winning the game, but keeping the game very close with Army, who's coming off of a bad loss against Navy.
Yeah, it's a tough game where Missouri, you would think SEC, and catching points. They were kind of beat up pretty bad by most of the power schools in the SEC. An Army team, like you said, coming off a dismal loss against Navy. This is a game where I think you get the best of Army versus, I think, a Missouri team that's just happy to be in a bowl game and playing out their season, maybe playing a lot of kids that will be coming back next year. And it's a tough spot. I think that's what you're seeing here with 94% of the tickets coming in on Army. The model has an under over a 60 with a 4. They opened it at 3, some 3.5. It's already 4 at South Point and Westgate and at the Circus. So I think this line's going to keep climbing. If you like Missouri, sit and wait because you probably get 5 by kickoff. If I right now lean Army, I think you're going to get a full 60 minutes, and let's end the season on a 9-4 instead of losing the last couple. So I look for a solid effort by Army on the 22nd.
And I know what you're thinking about too, Jeff, because I'm thinking about it too. 77-7, Houston. That game still irritates me to this day because they gave Houston the number, and you're thinking to yourself, Houston's been kicking butt all season long, and okay, it's just Army. Army don't score. All they're gonna do is run the ball all day. They wound up beating them boys 77-7. They scored 42 points in the first half. That's still just like, wow, they took it back to the 1920s Army that day, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? For all the kiddos who don't know, Army and Navy used to be Bama and Bama 1 and Bama 2 of the NCAA in football, because the only team that could beat them was Notre Dame, and that's why Notre Dame is who they are today. Because everybody else used to get absolutely crushed by the Navy and the Army. Like, it used to be no contest. Like, seriously, I seen some of the old school scores. I was like, geez, Louise. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. But that's what happens when you over there having big wars and everything like that. All the big recruiting goes to the service, at that time. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much let's go ahead and jump into the NBA, Jeff. We only have so many games tonight. Also want to go ahead and let you guys know that the Bulls game is postponed. The next 2 Bulls games are postponed due to the COVID outbreak with the team and everything like that. I think they'll get back half the players at least with some false positives, but that's kind of what they're dealing with right now. So I'm just giving everybody a heads up about that as well too. You know what I mean? So pretty much. And also the Browns and the Rams did not show up at the facility today. They had team meetings via virtual Zooms and things like that. So Just giving you guys a heads up on that one as well.
Shefty just reported too. He's looking for about another 30 names to be added to the COVID list. It's running rampant right now, and it's going to be interesting. We got games on Saturday and Sunday and Monday this week and Thursday. So the point of the matter is, I think this is the outbreak that we expected last year that they kind of muscled through, and it's going to be interesting to see, how this plays out because. I'll talk about fantasy for 1 second. It's the playoffs now, and you only can cover so many bases. So like last night, a late scratch by Ramsey and Higbee. Well, all the Higbee owners were caught with their pants down. There's nothing they could do. So I'll be interested to see as these games get closer how many more people are getting put on this list. And some of these teams could be playing shorthanded as we get closer to the playoffs.
Right. And if anybody can kind of say that it's okay, and I know it doesn't sound good right now, but the way the Raiders are playing right now, the Browns having 8 players out, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Is Chubb available? Is Dearness available? As long as you got guys that you just have a pulse, you got a chance against the Raiders right now.
Well,
it's hopeless right now.
In sports, it's always been next man up. So I mean, unfortunately, football's the one team sport that has a bazillion guys on the roster.
Right.
And so you just got to wheel them in and hope for the best.
And the Browns, you know what? If you watch the Browns during the preseason, they had some really good third and fourth string players on that team. You know what I mean? At the receiver position as well. And they had to really kind of maneuver their roster to make sure that they still had OBJ there happy. So, I think they'll be fine come Saturday, but we'll talk more about that on our show. Let's go ahead and jump into the NBA. And you guys already know NFL Bet Exchange starts at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So you guys don't miss out on that. We finally got a 16-game week for the first time since week 4, I think. So, man, I know Jeff's excited. I'm excited for sure excited about this one. Because we got a lot to talk about and a lot to dig into. But let's go ahead and get into the Warriors at the Knicks tonight. And the Warriors coming here as with the best record in basketball. And they are the Warriors coming here at 22-5. Knicks are 12-15 on the season. The Knicks have been absolutely atrocious. The Knicks started off the season 5-1. Since that point, they are 7-14. This team is struggling right now, Jeff. And you got the Warriors who are starting to kind of have a pulse a little bit. They're starting to kind of come back down to earth just a little bit, Jeff, just a little bit. I say this because when I look at my notes, you have a Warriors team coming into this game tonight, 22-5, 4-2 straight up in the month of December. They're 2-4 against the spread, though, and they've went under in 5 out of the 6 games that they played in this month. Also, versus the East, they're 10-2, 9-3 against the spread. And then they've also went under in 8 out of these 12 games. Now, the Knicks have came into the month of December absolutely terrible. They're 1-5 for this month, dropped their first 5 out of 6 games this month. And that's against the spread and straight up. Also, they have went over in 4 out of the 6 games they played in. Now, against the Western Conference, they lined it up with the Western Conference 6 times this year. They are even when it comes to the spread and straight up. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they went over 4 out of the 6 games they played against Western Conference teams. Now, I see this tonight as a big spot for people to get trapped in, Jeff. I know everybody's going to want to bet the Warriors tonight because history's on the line with Steph Curry passing Ray Allen's record. But the Knicks need a get-over win. They need a confidence booster. This team is much better than they look right now. But I think that they need a win like this so they can boost themselves into a nice little streak and everything like that. But I say to this game right here, I know it's going to be on national television tonight because it's Curry in the Garden. I will go ahead and we'll circle this game on the over 212 tonight. I think that both these teams come out scoring tonight, and we wind up having ourselves a pretty good game. And I think the Knicks keep this bad boy very, very close as well, too. So, I don't know who wins the game, but I know one thing, though. The Knicks keep it close, and we get the over tonight. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this one?
we're seeing 73% of the tickets, 84% of the money coming in on Golden State. Opened at 3.5, flat fives all across the Vegas Strip. 4.5 at WinBet. Your under over opened at 211 and a hook, and it's still 211 and a hook, even with let me see, 63% of the tickets betting on the under, yet 70% of the money coming in on the over. I got a 212.5 at our friends at South Point. I got a 212 at Caesars, but I have 211.5 at Circa, your friends at Westgate, and mine, of course, and 211 at DraftKings. So you're on to something here. I think it's going to be which Knicks team shows up. Preseason, we were on the Golden State team on our side here at ECSI, and for the East, our two sleepers were Chicago and Miami, trying to beat obviously the favorites on Brooklyn and Milwaukee and Philly. So this Golden State team, again, everyone expecting Curry to break the record. When they're clicking, they're just the toughest team in the NBA, I think, to beat. And this is without Clay. So second half of the year, they're only going to get better. Slight lean to Golden State, but I could see this landing right on the number here. We'll give you the old 209, 203 final pops. How's that sound?
All right, man. Sounds good to me. And I think that we'll get this over under down to about 210 by the time we get the tip, because I think a lot of people are going to be thinking under after I really when they look into the numbers, that's where they'll want to go, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So we have that, and we move on to a Atlantic divisional game tonight. That's going to be between the Raptors, who are 13-14, and the Nets, who are 19-8. And let me go ahead and give everybody some good info about the Raptors. The Raptors have went into they've played 3 road games within the division, and they've been able to win all those road games against everybody in the division. They beat Boston as a big dog. They beat the Knicks as a big dog, and they also went ahead and beat Philly as a big dog as well too. Now, they did lose to Boston their last road game that they had against the division, but I just wanted to throw that stat out there that the Raptors are a big game hunting tonight. That's all I can say, okay? And we have a Raptors team that is red hot this month. They've won their first 4 out of 5 games and covered those games as well too. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 3 out of those 5 games. Now, when it goes up to, and as I said before, against the spread and straight up versus the Atlantic, they're 4-3, 3-1 on the road. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they went under in 4 out of these 7 games against the in 4 out of these 7 games against their division. So pretty much the Raptors coming to this one very live dog, in my opinion. Now you got the Nets 4-2 in the month of December straight up. They're 3-3 against the spread, and they've went under in 5 out of their 6 games. Now against the division, they're 4-0 straight up, and they're 3-1 against the spread. Now at home, they're 1-0 straight up, but they did not cover that game because that was the night that they played the Knicks on TNT or on ESPN, I forget, but it was a national game as well too. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get a little crazier, Jeff. I'm taking the Raptors today as my plus 180 dog of the day. I know I kind of gave it away, just pretty much giving out the number that they've beaten everybody at home as a big dog, and I think that they're going to add the Nets to their list as well too, because the Nets are going to be a drastic overbet tonight.
You know, you look at the Golden State New York game and you look at Toronto Brooklyn. I'm going to say one of those dogs comes in and wins.
Mm-hmm.
On this one here, Brooklyn opened at 8.5, and now it's a flat 5. I haven't gotten an injury update to see why that is. Actually, let me move over to here. Let me see if I can pull this up for you. Maybe we can pull something up here. Durant was questionable with an ankle, so maybe that's why it dropped. Maybe people are betting on the come, saying that Durant doesn't play. But a game where 68% of the bets, 86% of the money's coming in on Toronto. The line has shifted 3.5 points. And under over that opened at 216, now down to 215 and a hook. So I think everyone is on their Toronto side. I think they're betting that the fact that Durant will not play. I think, again, usually when you run to the window on those injuries, and even if he doesn't play, you find an inspired team to pick up the slack, whether it's Harden or someone else. So I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's obviously the best game on the board tonight. Interested to see if Durant plays or not, Pops.
Right. And I think I just like the way the Raptors are coming into this month. They breathed a little bit after having so many struggles back in Canada, because you know that they're one of the worst home teams in the league right now. But they've been getting that together as well too. And I think that they found some comfort in these last in this last month or so. So that's why I really like them coming into this game tonight. And I think that they can go ahead, and I think that they just got to go ahead and get that fourth win on the road against a division foe. They got to get everybody on the road. And I think tonight it's your turn, Nets. You know what I mean? But you're so right about people inspired teams. And I told somebody that the other night when they asked me, why are you taking the Mavs without Luka? I said that means other people are going to step it up tonight if Luka's not playing. You know, so
right.
it's a professional sport, guys. It's not little Rex. It's not a Rex and Parks league, okay? You know, that's what a lot of these NBA fans have to understand. It's never about one. It's about all. You know what I mean? But that's the mentality that they have, Jeff. A lot of these people never played on teams, so they don't understand the team dynamic. You know what I mean?
100% agree. 100%.
You know? So, you know, they're always going to think that the best player got to be, if we don't have him today, we don't have a chance. Nobody who's played sports has ever had that mentality. Anybody who's had a real mentality when it comes to loving sports and actually playing it, they've never had the mentality where, oh, me's down, and so we're going to just lose today. No. No, it's my day to shine today.
Next man up.
Keep passing the ball. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, we move on. Let's talk about the Suns and the Blazers. And let me tell you one thing. It's going to be one thing or another with this Blazers team, Jeff. But I think, honestly, it's the end of the road right now for some players that have been with this franchise for a while now. And I think, honestly, if they don't get to winning, say in the next month or so, Chauncey Billups is going to be out of a job, if not sooner, because I'm hearing a lot of different things going on in Portland right now, and none of them are good. But let's stick to the game. Suns finally had a pulse last night. They wound up losing last night, and that's probably their second loss in about 22 games. You know what I mean? This team went on an absolute roll, but I think that they're cooling off a little bit. They're 3-2 straight up in December. They're also 2-3 against the spread this month as well too. And then they went under in 4 out of 5 of those games. Now, when it comes to how they play on the road, one of the best teams in the league. They're 8-3 on the road, straight up. They're 6-5 against the spread, and they've went under in 8 out of those 11 games as well too. Now, the Blazers coming to this game winless this month. They've dropped all 5 contests that they've been in this month. They're 1-4 against the spread this month as well too. Also, they've went under in 3 out of their 5 games. And then when it comes down to their straight up record at home, they're 10-5 losers of their last 4 in a row at home. And this is a team that started off 10-1. They reeled off 10 straight home wins, and then they've dropped the last 4 in a row since then. And also against the spread, they're 8-7. Same deal, Jeff. They dropped the last 4 in a row against on the spread as well too. So this team is really tail spinning right now. And they've went under in 8 out of the 15 games they played at home. Honestly, tonight, I think this game stays under, to be honest with you. And I think that Phoenix, the line is not correct here. I think Phoenix needs to be a bit bigger of a favorite tonight. I think the Suns win this game by 10 or better tonight, because the Blazers is just ready to break up. And when you're ready to break up, sometimes you just don't care about winning. You just show up because you know you get a paycheck and you got to pay rent. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's like going to a bad job and knowing that everybody's going to get fired soon. So I'm just going to show up and do whatever I want to do. That's how the Blazers right now.
The Blazers are playing the PR move because everyone knows Philly's trying to move Simmons, and Portland made it clear that Dame isn't up for trade or sale. And again, they're just trying to keep fannies in the seat. That's what they're trying to do. And I can't blame it on Chauncey at this point. Here's what I do. Okay. Look at the East here. Okay. There were talks. Now, if I'm the Celtics, I don't think I do it, but I know that Tatum's good friends with Dame. Okay. So they were talking Jaylen Brown, Smart, and some picks for Dame. And if I'm the Celtics, I don't make that. But this group, the way the Celtics are built, isn't going anywhere, even though they beat the Bucks last night. So I pulled up the injuries, and obviously Booker's out, and Aiden is a question mark due to sickness. That's why I think the line is where it is. A Portland team that's just not going anywhere. So you have to decide: do I want Ben Simmons, or do I want to call up the Celtics and see if they would make that package? They're not going anywhere this year. You have to cut bait at some point. If you believe in your coach, who you hired to turn this around, he's not going to do it with Lillard. So make the move, get Simmons, or make a move with the Celtics and just move on if you're going to sleep with the coach. So tonight, flip the coin. Am I going to – I mean, I guess it comes down to the Suns going to lose 2 in a row. Probably not. I mean, they could wheel out Kevin Johnson right now, Dan Marley. They can move Barkley in there, and I think they could get it done tonight against this Blazers team. I think Phoenix can decide whatever they win by. I just don't trust Portland at all right now.
Me neither. And you know what? And just a funny thing that you bring up trades right before we get into talking tickets, I just want to go ahead. I know I didn't do State of the Lakers and everything today, but I've been seeing a lot of talk on Twitter about who the Lakers should be moving for another superstar or something, or where does Westbrook, where can we send Westbrook to, and blah, 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 blah. But let me give you guys some game. There's something called a salary cap, and the Lakers are well over it right now. And the Lakers decided to take on one of the worst contracts in NBA history with Russell Westbrook, okay? Russell Westbrook is owed $91 million over the next 2 seasons. Nobody's taking a flyer on that, buddy, okay? So you need to get out of la-la land. You need to get out of imagination land and understand that we stuck with what we got. The only thing the Lakers can do is trade for role players right now. That's it. You can't trade for any stars unless a star gets released somewhere down the road. And the Lakers wouldn't be the first option for a superstar. Somebody told me, well, it's the Lakers, so they'll be able to always bring in players because they have it doesn't work like that. Kobe kind of ruined that years ago. You know what I mean? Where, I'm going to come to LA and change my whole life. You know what I mean? The Lakers had the right plan with drafting a group of guys like the Warriors did, to where guys get established in the city and then they can become the next Showtime, and they don't have to worry about getting paid. But now you put yourself every time the Lakers make another move, they just keep setting back their future by another year, in my opinion. And so, to the parade watchers, because that's what I'm going to start calling y'all, because you're not real Laker fans, they are not making any deals for any stars. We're stuck with what we have, okay? And we're going to make it work, and you guys are going to sit there and shut up and enjoy it.
And the problem, unfortunately, is you're starting to see life without LeBron, and everyone thought, well, Anthony Davis was going to be that guy that's going to take you to the next level once LeBron leaves. You're going to see that aging. Anthony is, 27 going on 47. I mean, he looks like Fred G. Sanford half the time. Love the player, don't get me wrong. But would you rather have some young talent like the T-Wolves have right now versus what you have right now? And you look at Phoenix and some of these other younger teams. And I'm telling you, Pops, when you go all in to try to win, this is what happens. You're in salary cap prison, and you got aging veterans, and it's a tough out. It really is a tough out.
And the funny part about it is the Lakers broke out of this situation 4 or 5 years ago after making bad deals to guys like Luol Deng.
Yeah,
it's a whole other show, a whole other topic. I'll move on. Let's talk them tickets, man. Because I know you're the same way about your Celtics right now.
I absolutely have been a Jaylen Brown fan since day one. Love the guy to death. And if you want my honest 2 cents, I'll spit the venom right now. I do not believe in Tatum. Tatum gets up for the LA games when LeBron's playing and the other superstars that are playing. And it took the coach to pull him and the team aside to say, this is what I used to say to Kawhi. And all of a sudden, Tatum puts up 42 and they beat the Bucks. If your contract where you're making $700,000 a game or $650,000 a game, some stupid number, if you can't get up for that, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't want him here. Send him to Phoenix. I'll take Aiden right now. We already got Tatum lined up. I'll take Tatum in a heartbeat. I don't want them to trade Brown. I don't. You can put up Tatum. He's a diva. He's another one of these divas that only shines when he wants to. I'm sorry. And I think the Celtics, unfortunately, moved Brad up. They're bringing the coach. I think the Tatum and Brown, you're not going to win with them together. You got to figure it out. You're not supposed to sign Marcus to a 4-year deal. It's a lot of shit. That's
right. I understand. So we just know one thing: we ain't gonna get no Celtics Lakers final this year.
Hell no. No.
Even though it was one of the more exciting, even though they were two of the more hyped up games in the NBA this season, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and talk them tickets real quick, Jeff, so we can go ahead and wrap this thing up. All right, so we have talking tickets tonight, 64-1 PrimeTime PK6. I got the Tar Heels in there just to kick us off for tonight. I know that this looks like it's a tough game, but quietly the Tar Heels are playing really, really good basketball this season. I know that they got shellacked in their game against Michigan, when Michigan came to Chapel Hill, but I think that was just a good little barometer game for what we'll see in March. But UNC -10, I think they win this game by 15 or better. I like Yale in their matchup today as well, too. Yale's in a good game against Monmouth, our boys from the Metro. And they already busted out some Metro bets lists this year already, too, as well, too, Jeff. So Manhattan is back. Manhattan's going to be good this season. Manhattan got a great record going this year. And Iona is going to once again be the landlord, and and all roads lead through Iona right now, because Patino is ready to go ahead and get to the Sweet 16 with these boys this year. You have the +6.5 with Greensboro. This could be a possible winner as well for you, too. Then we also have South Carolina Upstate in their game against Tennessee today with the +35.5. I love Northern Iowa against Jackson State tonight with the -13.5. And then we end off with Pacific as our home dog with the +165. Single what you like. This is going to be a 64-1 ticket, and I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so we move on, and let's talk about the primetime pick 3, which is 9-1 tonight. We have the over 212 with the Warriors and the Knicks. My dog of the day being the Raptors +180. And then we also do have the under 219 with the Suns and Blazers tonight. Single what you like. And that is going to be my tickets for tonight in Talkin Tickets. So I cannot wait. It should be another really good Tuesday night. I was just getting mad at the fact that the NBA is only having 3 games on Tuesdays like every week now. And then I had to figure out, why is TNT showing games on Tuesday night? And then I said, they don't want to have the conflict of interest with the Thursday night football. So, that's just that's everybody's respecting each other's television stuff. So, it is what it is. And I've noticed they're not giving us the best games on TNT on Tuesdays. They're just showing up and making sure we can see Chuck, Kenny, and Ernie and Shaq once a week. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day. Charles is barely showing up right now, too. Charles is like, well, I got other stuff to do. I see y'all with his Thursday night.
Kind of sort of going through the motions. They're trying to get you to Christmas Day when they got 4 games. I actually think there might be an NFL game, too. I think there is. I'll check the schedule.
It is. Yeah.
But Sunday's their day, and they usually do that grand kickoff after Christmas Day. I'm sorry, and that's the lead into, hey, we're gonna get you to the All-Star break now, and then once the All-Star break gets through, and now it's the rush for the playoffs. So they got it strategically placed. They know what they're doing. But you're right, they're going through the motions. That's what they're doing.
Right. So it is what it is. The NBA is still, to me, it is what I like to call the stage period, like we do in soccer stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody just going through the motions and just going through their thing, because once we get past this Christmas game, this is when the season really starts and things get to click on, and that's when you can really sit up there and beat up on the Lakers and be they're the worst and blah blah blah. Same thing with the Celtics. But for right now, just give them some time. You know what I mean? Just give them some time. Kendrick Nunn and Trevor Ariza haven't even showed up yet, so we'll see how it goes. But all in all, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I got some races going on over here at Turf Paradise in a moment. You guys, I'm going to be tweeting that out for you guys as well, too. Hey, Jeff, we kind of in a bad, I ain't got nothing till the day after Christmas, man. Santa Anita is on Christmas break. Santa Anita is not around till next Saturday. I think Los Alamitos is back to just quarter horses, and I think everybody in Southern California is getting a week off this year, because since they don't have Hollywood Park no more, they can find time to give everybody a week off just to give them time to, rework the gears a little bit. But I don't think that they're shutting down Golden Gate though. Golden Gate will be there.
You got to recharge those batteries, So, again, as we're winding down, today's the 14th. I mean, we got 17 days left in 2021, and the holiday season on its way. So we'll be bowling real soon. And once those get cracked up, and then what is it? The 31st is the Final Four in the college games, and you get the bowl games on January 1st, and we're off and running, Bobs.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, we are. So, all right. So I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be previewing more CFB and everything like that for you guys as well, too. So you guys make sure to tune in. And it's always a pleasure having my brother here with me, Mr. Jeff Dawson, the Don of Cape Cod. So pretty much you guys are the absolute best. We'll be back with you guys Thursday for the NFL Bet Exchange. You guys make sure to tune in for that. It's going to be one of our bigger shows of the year, as when we get to breaking down exactly where you need to be going for the next week. We plan this by a week situation, and everybody knows that. So thank you guys very much once again. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Anglers Live, with the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson. If you got a hunch, bet a bunch. As I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. And the movement is moving, and we are gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now